Welcome to our cabin. I'm Maggie, and I usually share videos about my husband and I's journey of building our off-grid cabin in the woods and working on our homestead. But today I'm sharing a bit of a different video all about a thrift haul. I love thrift shopping and saving money, so today I'm going to share with you all the materials that we have thrifted for our off-grid cabin build and how we have saved over $6,000 on our build from thrifting. If you're doing any kind of renovation or building project, I highly recommend first looking for your materials secondhand before buying new. This often will save you a lot of money and also is really good for the environment because a lot of these materials out there secondhand still have a lot of life in them, and it's great to reuse first. There are three main places that we have thrifted materials for our cabin build, and they are Facebook Marketplace, Habitat for Humanity restores, and then just from friends and family that know we're doing an alternative build and that we would be happy to take extra or old materials that still are good, and that's worked out really great for us. So the first is Facebook Marketplace. And for each material that we thrifted, I'm going to share with you how much we paid at the thrift store or thrifted online versus how much it could have cost if we had have bought it new. And so first is the biggest one for us is our lumber. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace like I do when we first started building our cabin, and I came across these brothers that were selling lumber that they had all piled up, and they were going to build a cabin, but they never ended up building the cabin. And it's a really similar sized cabin to what we have built here. And so I took my grandfather with me to check it out to see if the wood was actually any good or not, since he's a carpenter and has been for 60 years. So he said it was good to go, and so we brought our trailer down and loaded up that lumber, and it was a huge cost savings. We paid $1,500 for that lumber, which is in Canadian dollars since we're in Canada. And compared to what we would have paid from the lumber yard, it is a crazy savings. When we built the cabin, it was right during the starting of the peak of building materials skyrocketing, and we probably would have paid over $3,000 to buy it new, probably more like $5,000. But for the sake of this total, I'm going to say we would have spent $3,000, and then we had over $1,500 savings in just the lumber. This thrifted lumber makes up over 50% of the lumber used in our cabin for the structure. And if we had not have found this lumber thrifted, with that price of lumber what it was at back in 2020, we probably would not have been able to get started on our cabin build. So I'm super thankful for that find. The next thing we found on Facebook Marketplace was our interior doors. These were some antique doors that were being taken out of a home in our town that's close to us. It was a historic home, and these doors were really old and had the original hardware on them still, which I loved. After they were taken out of the historic home, someone was selling them, and I got them I think for $50 a piece, and there were 5 doors. And so in total I paid $250 for these. If you look up online at a hardware store, interior doors right now are going for somewhere around $250 a piece. So we got 5 for the price of 1, which is an awesome savings. And also the ones we found are way better quality, and I love the historic charm they have. My favorite thing is that the original key for the doors came with them, so we can unlock and lock the doors still with that original key, which I just think it's so cute, and I love that. The next find we found on Facebook was just this week. I found a sink for our kitchen sink, and I was humming and hawing about it. I wasn't sure. It was a really nice sink. I don't know if I'll say it right, but it's the Blanco Sil Granite, a double sink. And I liked the one on Facebook, but I couldn't tell if there were some stains or not. It was hard to see. It was only $75. I had a meeting to go meet the lady to possibly buy it, but that day I also went to the local restore, and I found almost the exact same sink, same brand, just an under mount instead of a mount on top of the counter, and it was $150. And I decided to go with the one from the restore because it was brand new. These types of sinks online go for I think over $900 a specific sink, and I paid $150, so that's a cost savings of $750. Now I would not have bought that expensive sink new, but by going to thrift stores and looking online, I'm able to buy better quality or higher end products for the cabin where I would have not been able to buy them if I had gone and purchased it new. So that was really exciting. And that brings us to our second place that I love to find thrifted items for cabin building, and it is the Habitat for Humanity restore. I love the Restore. Most thrift stores don't have a lot of building materials, but Habitat for Humanity Restores have a bunch of construction materials, and we have bought a lot of things for our cabin at the Restore. One large item we purchased at the Restore a few years back was our tub, and this tub we paid $100 for, and originally it would have been probably around $400. If you look online, that's about the cheapest tub you can find, so that was a good savings of $300. And we were able to bring it in, and then we built our bathroom around the tub, and it's new. So a lot of the products at Habitat for Humanity are actually new, but they're leftovers from jobs or donated without being used, and so you can get brand new products but at a thrifted price. So I love that. This next find at Habitat for Humanity is my absolute favorite of all the things I have thrifted for this build. It's not my biggest cost savings, but it's my favorite thing because it's just so unique and different, and I could never buy it in store. So I'm gonna show you what that is. It is these handles, and they are drawer pulls for our kitchen cabinets, but they're super unique. They are made out of cast iron, and they're antiques. You can see that they are made out of cast iron. They have the original nails still in them, and you'll never be able to find anything like this ever again. So I just love them. They weren't a huge cost savings. The tag's still on them. They're over $10 a piece, which is kind of expensive for something thrifted. You can get these for super cheap, just like ugly ones. But these are so nice that I really wanted them, and so I decided to splurge. But if I were to buy anything like this new, it still would be about the same price, if not a little more. So I'm super happy with this find. Also at Habitat for Humanity, we have purchased all of the light switches and receptacle plugins for the whole cabin. So at the Restore, there is a bin of just a whack of plugins and light switches, and if you dig around, you can find matching ones. And so we dug around to find ones that were the closest to a wood color, since our walls will be wood, and we use those throughout the whole cabin. Now these aren't super expensive to buy new, but still, if you add up all of them for the whole cabin, it would have probably cost about $100, and I paid $10.50 for every single plug-in and light switch in the whole cabin. So $90 is a good savings. Another item I have thrifted at the Restore multiple times are light fixtures. So I think I've gotten like 3 of them over the years, and I always keep an eye out at the thrift store. Often they're not my style. They can be kind of like glitzy, and that does not meet our cabin aesthetic, but you can sometimes find really good deals. My favorite that I have found is an antique little sconce, and I'm looking forward to putting it up, I think, in that little room up in the loft. And I just think it's super cute, and it did not cost very much at all. I think all 3 of the fixtures together cost like $28 versus buying them new would be way more. So I'll still keep my eye out. I like to find a few more little antique looking lights like that. So I always look for thrifting first, and then if I can't find it, then I'll buy it new. The third place that we have sourced thrifted items for our cabin build is just from friends and family who know we are building an off-grid cabin and that we would love to have whatever you don't want if it's useful in the cabin. So some things that we have sourced from friends are tiles. So like this. I had a friend at work at a job I used to be at, and he knew we were building a cabin, and he had an extra box of these tiles. And so whenever I'm at the thrift stores, I always keep an eye out for matching tiles. I don't have enough to do around our bathroom tub and up on the wall because it's going to be like a shower tub. And so I need to find a few more. So if I can't find them, I'll probably just find square white tile, and I could buy them new to match. But I got 1 box for free, so that was great. Another item that we've got from friends are shingles. So my friend, she was renovating her basement, and for some reason an interior wall had cedar shingles on it, and wasn't really the vibe she was going for. So they ripped them down and are gyprocking it, but we have wanted cedar shingles for the back of our cabin. We have a little spot by the back door that we ran out of siding, out of our hemlock siding, and so instead of going and getting more siding, we decided we'll just buy a couple bundles of cedar shingles and put those on there, give it a little unique look back there, and we just haven't done it yet. But then she pulled these off her wall, and so I'll be able to do most of our little section back there with these shingles that she gave me, the ones that didn't break when they were taking it off the wall. So that was a great savings. Another big savings for our cabin build that we haven't actually put on yet is our front deck. So a few people have commented on my videos how, oh, it'll look so nice once you have a deck on, and I 100% agree. I can't wait to have a front deck, and I'm hoping for it to wrap around out this window here behind me. The cabin kind of juts out, and so I'm hoping for it to wrap around a little bit. And my parents used to have a trailer at a seasonal lot. It was like a camping trailer, and it had a deck on it. It was quite big. And so when they moved their trailer out of their seasonal lot, they asked us if we wanted to have their deck. And so right now it's just sitting up by the cow pen under the snow. We really wanted to get it on this year, but it never happened. And so hopefully in the spring, once the ground thaws, we'll be able to dig out some footings and be able to put that deck on. And so that'll be a huge savings since lumber's expensive. We probably will have to buy some still just to replace anything that's maybe rotten, and we'll have to pay for the footings. And so there'll still be some cost to it, but that's a huge savings that we're super thankful for. A few other things that have been given to us over time are a water tank for our water upstairs in the cabin. We had been given flooring. I'm not sure if we're going to use it or not, but maybe we'll use it upstairs. One item that we were given was this stove, which was awesome. Eric was working at a job, and down in the basement he was renovating. The stove was just sitting there, not in use, and he asked the owner if they wanted it, and if not, if he could have it, and they just gave it to us. So that was awesome. Huge savings, because wood stoves can be expensive, so that was really, really nice of them. So that is all the items that we have thrifted over time to build our cabin. And so this definitely was a process. If you want to save money by thrifting, you don't just go out and get it the day you want it, because if you're building something, you don't want to have to wait and hold up building progress because you're out looking for a random item at the thrift store. You'll end up just going and buying it from the store. We definitely have done that because we don't have time to thrift it. But if over the years that you know you're going to be building, you keep an eye out and start collecting all the things you will probably need in your build, then you'll be able to save a lot of money in the end. In total, I estimate that we've saved around $6,334. That is comparing the retail price versus the price that I have paid, which is so exciting, especially when you consider that our budget for this cabin was $40,000. I'm going to be making a video coming up once our cabin's completely done and we're done spending money on what everything costs for us to build it. But $6,000 out of $40,000, that's a pretty good savings for us since we have such a small budget for our cabin build. If you're still here on the video, I want to also share with you one thing that hasn't not gone so well for thrifting. So thrifting is awesome, but we have had one thrift fail, and that would be our fridge. So if you watch our videos, you often might see our old antique fridge as in the background. And I was excited when we were starting to build our cabin. I was like, oh, an antique fridge will look so cute. I didn't think about the fact that we have a very small solar system, and those fridges take a lot of power. They're not eco-friendly like the new ones. And even with a new fridge, we're still probably gonna need to get a super, super efficient one that's small, since our system currently is small because we could buy what we could afford. So that fridge is just sitting there. We had it given to us by a friend who was clearing out a neighbor's basement, and they said if we came over and got the fridge out of the basement, we could have it. I was like, oh, yay. So Eric went with me, and it was very hard to get out of the basement. It was heavy, and it was an effort to get it in here. And so now it just sits there, and we're not gonna be able to use it because we can't run it. And also, we didn't realize at the time that if you don't plug a fridge in right away, you can't just let it sit often. They'll just not work because it will ruin the fridge since it hasn't been plugged in. And it has not been plugged in over 2 years, and it's old. So I love the fridge, but it's a bit of a fail because we're not gonna be able to use it. The moral of the story about the fridge is that it's important to think about the items you're getting. Even if it's free or super cheap, make sure you actually want it in your build before you go get it, or you'll have to deal with it later. If you have any questions about our cabin build, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you're interested in seeing our cabin come together and all these items go together to have our cabin build complete, we'd love to have you subscribe and follow along with our journey here working on our cabin at the homestead. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.